The day I arrived at the Galactic Summit, I thought I had seen it all. Wars spanning centuries, civilizations rising and falling like tides, and humans struggling to find their place among alien empires. Yet, nothing could have prepared me for the offer that awaited me, the chance to choose a bride from among the most extraordinary beings in the galaxy. I was an emissary from Earth, representing our fledgling presence in interstellar politics. Our planet had little influence compared to the likes of the Varelian hegemony or the Umbrak collective, yet humans had something everyone else admired: adaptability. That adaptability, it seemed, had earned me a peculiar kind of attention. The grand hall of the summit was enormous, its ceilings vaulted like the shells of ancient megafauna, glowing faintly with bioluminescent veins of energy. Around me, alien delegates mingled in forms that would challenge even the most imaginative artist. There were beings with translucent skins revealing pulsing organs, creatures who floated rather than walked, and others who communicated entirely through fluctuating light patterns. I kept my composure, but my eyes inevitably drifted to the central dais, where a holographic announcement shimmered. Today, a historic offer will be made to humanity. One representative shall be granted the opportunity to choose a bride among the galaxy's most renowned and formidable figures. I felt a cold thrill. My pulse quickened. Marriages in this context were more than unions. They were bonds of alliance, treaties wrapped in intimacy, symbols of trust and power. Choosing a bride was not merely personal. It could shape humanity's future among the stars. A herald approached, a creature with 8 arms and an iridescent exoskeleton. It bowed in a manner that made the air shimmer. "Emissary of Earth," it said, its voice like a chorus of bells, "the council has selected you. Step forward to see the candidates." I stepped forward, feeling eyes, millions of them, from countless species, on me. A curtain of light parted, revealing a gallery of potential brides. Each one radiated power in a way that humans rarely recognized outside of legends. Some were fierce warriors, others were diplomats who could bend entire fleets to their will with a word. Yet there was one who drew my attention immediately. She was standing slightly apart, observing the crowd with a predator's calm. The stories I had heard whispered in shadowed corners of the summit could never have prepared me for her presence. She was known as Kalara of the Shadivar. The Shadivar were infamous across systems for their ruthlessness. Entire colonies had been abandoned rather than risk incurring their wrath. And here she was, alive, gazing at me with eyes that seemed to pierce my very thoughts. "She's feared across the stars," murmured one of the attendants, following my gaze. "Few dare approach her. Entire fleets have retreated upon learning she might be aboard." And yet, I felt drawn to her. Perhaps it was arrogance, perhaps curiosity, but I knew immediately who I would choose. "I want her," I said. The hall went silent. A ripple of whispers spread like a solar wind through the gathered delegates. Kalara's eyes narrowed slightly, as if assessing whether I was worthy of speaking her name aloud. She took a single step forward. Her form was elegant, humanoid but elongated, with midnight blue skin patterned with silvery markings that shimmered when she moved. Her hair floated as if underwater, and her hands ended in talons that gleamed dangerously under the hall's lights. "You choose danger," she said softly, her voice like the echo of a distant storm. "And yet, I am intrigued." I bowed, a gesture learned from countless diplomatic exchanges. "I choose freedom, strength, and the truth, all of which you embody." Kalara regarded me with a calm that felt almost predatory. "Very well, but know this. None who take my hand are merely partners. You will inherit the shadows I command, the enemies I have made, and the battles I have yet to fight. I nodded. Fear did not control me. Curiosity did. And there was a part of me that recognized the thrill of standing beside a force so formidable it could shake entire sectors to their core. The ceremony was brief, but suffused with gravitas. The council recognized my choice. The gallery erupted in cautious applause, and Kalara and I left the hall under the eyes of countless witnesses. She led me to a vessel that was hers alone, a sleek craft that hummed with energy, alive in ways I could barely comprehend. As we departed the summit, I asked her, "Why accept this? You have every reason to distrust humans." Kalara's gaze was fixed on the stars outside. "Because you chose me despite knowing my reputation. Most fear me, or seek to control me. You are neither afraid nor foolishly bold. You are human." Her words lingered. There was respect there, tempered by caution. I realized that fear was not the only lens through which she saw the galaxy. She valued judgment, intelligence, and instinct. Our first days together were a study in contrasts. She was formidable in combat, commanding simulations where entire fleets fell under her tactical genius. I was learning quickly, adapting to her methods, understanding her mind. And yet, beneath that cold exterior was a subtle warmth, glimpses of humor and curiosity that she shared only with me. One evening, as we floated above the Veil Nebula, I asked her about the stories, about the colonies abandoned, the enemies crushed, the whispers of her wrath. "They exaggerate," she said, tracing a claw along the window. "Fear is a tool, just as it is a shield. People remember what terrifies them. It keeps them alive, and it keeps me alive." "Do you ever tire of it?" I asked. Kalara's eyes met mine, softening for a fleeting moment. "Sometimes. But power is a responsibility I cannot forsake. Even with you, I cannot let my guard down entirely." Days turned into weeks. I began accompanying her on missions, both diplomatic and combative. She trusted me with her fleet's operations, revealing layers of strategy that most would die before understanding. And I, in turn, began to see the galaxy through her eyes, complex, harsh, and unforgiving. I realized why she was feared, because she saw truth where others saw only convenience. Our bond deepened not through declarations or ceremonies, but through shared survival and understanding. We learned each other's rhythms, instincts, and boundaries. Kalara taught me patience and strategy, and I taught her trust and subtlety, the human way of finding opportunities where others saw only obstacles. Yet, the galaxy did not allow for serenity. Rumors of our union spread, and with them came challenges. Factions that had once feared Kalara now sought to undermine her, seeing my presence as a vulnerability. Pirates ambushed us near the Delos Expanse, and diplomats attempted subtle sabotage at the Stellar Accord. Each challenge tested our bond. Each victory strengthened it. The true test came when the Umbrak Collective, a coalition notorious for their merciless diplomacy, declared a blockade around the Solarian Rim. Their fleets were vast, their tactics brutal. Most would have fled. Kalara, however, simply smiled. "We strike where they least expect," she said, her talons tracing patterns on the holomap. "And they will learn that fear is earned, not inherited." I stood by her side as she orchestrated a maneuver that would enter galactic legend. Using a combination of stealth, psychological warfare, and precise strikes, she shattered their blockade without losing a single vessel. Reports of her brilliance spread across the stars, and whispers of my partnership reached every corner of the galaxy. That night, amidst the calm of victory, Kalara turned to me. "You could have chosen any bride," she said, voice softer than usual. "Yet you chose me, the one feared, the one shunned, the one who walks the edge of darkness.
Why?
I looked at her, recalling our first meeting, the stories, the awe, and fear that surrounded her. Because I saw you, not the legends, not the fear. I saw the mind, the strength, and the truth. And I wanted to stand beside that. For the first time, she allowed herself to smile fully, the kind that could thaw nebulae. Then perhaps the galaxy is not as lonely as I imagined. Months passed and our reputation only grew. Kalara and I became a symbol of unity tempered with strength. Worlds once wary of humanity now sought our counsel, seeing in us a blend of human adaptability and Shadivar precision. Our bond was a bridge between fear and trust, myth and reality, war and diplomacy. Still, life with Kalara was never simple. Every victory brought new challenges, every alliance came with conditions, and every shadow we touched reminded me that the galaxy is unforgiving. Yet, despite the perils, I had no regrets. Choosing her had been reckless by conventional standards, but the rewards, the understanding, the growth, the partnership, were beyond measure. On the eve of the galactic solstice, we stood together atop her flagship, overlooking a nebula that shimmered like liquid amethyst. The universe was vast, full of peril and wonder, yet in that moment, it felt intimate. I feared you would overwhelm me, I admitted. And perhaps, in some ways, you have. Kalara laughed softly, a sound like wind through crystal. And yet you endure. You thrive. That is why you chose wisely. She leaned closer, her eyes reflecting stars older than Earth itself. Together, we are not merely two beings. We are a force that shapes the galaxy. And perhaps we are the future. I smiled, feeling a warmth that no cosmic fire could match. Then let the galaxy see it. Let them see that fear is not the end, it is the beginning. And so, we faced the stars as one. The bride feared across the cosmos, and the human who had chosen her, standing together at the edge of infinity, rewriting the stories that once defined us. In the end, I realized that fear is temporary, power is fleeting, but the bonds we choose, and the courage to see truth beyond legend, last across the ages. The solstice celebration across the galaxy was unlike anything I had ever witnessed. Planets lit their skies with holographic constellations, fleets aligned in orbital formations, and delegates from every corner of known space attended to honor the new alliance, humanity and the Shadivar. But for Kalara and me, it was not ceremony but reflection. We had faced countless trials since our union, sabotage attempts by rival factions, assassination plots, and even betrayal from those who once claimed loyalty. Yet, through every challenge, our bond had only strengthened. We had learned to anticipate each other's moves, to trust instincts without words, and to command both armies and alliances as one cohesive force. That evening, as we stood together on the observation deck of her flagship, the Night Vale, Kalara finally let herself relax. Her fingers brushed mine, and for the first time, there was no calculation in her eyes, only something genuine, unguarded, and rare. "You've changed me," she admitted softly. "Not the galaxy, not the shadow me. I thought I could never let anyone see beneath the shadows, and yet here you are." I smiled, feeling the weight of those words. "And you've changed me, too. You've shown me what it truly means to wield power responsibly, and what it means to trust someone entirely." Her gaze turned outward to the swirling nebula beyond the viewport. "Do you think they will ever stop fearing me?" I chuckled. "Fear is part of who you are, Kalara. But now, they will also respect and even admire the one who stands beside you. Humanity will learn not just about your power, but about our strength too." She nodded, a rare smile playing on her lips. Then let them see it. Weeks passed. Together, we traveled to embattled systems, negotiating peace where diplomacy had failed and commanding fleets where strategy alone could not win. Each victory was a testament not just to our individual skills, but to our partnership. Kalara's legend only grew, but so did the reputation of humanity as a rising power capable of matching her intellect and courage. But the true test came when the rogue faction known as the Blood Suns attempted a coordinated assault on the Outer Rim colonies. Their goal was simple: destabilize the Solarian Alliance and eliminate any influence Earth had gained. I expected the worst: bloodshed, chaos, loss. But Kalara had already anticipated it. She revealed her plan in our war room, mapping movements across 3 dimensions, and I realized we were about to execute a maneuver that had never been attempted, a simultaneous psychological, tactical, and diplomatic strike that relied on precision, timing, and instinct. As the battle began, we worked seamlessly. I relayed strategic updates, managed communications, and helped anticipate enemy movements. Kalara commanded her fleet with cold perfection, each order decisive, each strike devastating. Slowly, system by system, the Blood Suns crumbled, and when the final fleet surrendered, it was clear that our combined power had reshaped the balance of the galaxy. After the battle, we stood together on the bridge, watching the stars. The remnants of enemy ships floated silently, a testament to what could happen when fear, strategy, and courage intersected. Kalara turned to me. "You could have walked away at any point," she said. "Any other human would have. And yet you stayed. Why?" I took a deep breath. Because I chose more than a bride. I chose a partner, a teacher, and a challenge. I chose someone who inspires awe, fear, and respect all at once. And most importantly, I chose someone I trust with my life. Her eyes softened, a rare vulnerability flickering. Then we are truly equals. From that moment on, our partnership was no longer just a union of political strategy or mutual respect. It was a bond that transcended the galaxy itself. Worlds that had once feared Kalara now sought her guidance. Allies that doubted humanity now looked to us as an example of what courage and intelligence could achieve. Years later, when we returned to the Solarian Rim, older but unbroken, the Council of Elders approached us with a ceremonial honor. Kalara and I were recognized not just as leaders, but as symbols of hope, strength, and unity, a human and the one feared across the stars, together, shaping the destiny of the galaxy. Standing together, I realized the truth I had known from the moment I chose her. Fear fades, empires rise and fall, but the bonds we forge, and the courage to see beyond legends, are eternal. Kalara placed her hand over mine. "We have walked through darkness," she said, her voice steady. "And now we create our own light." And as we looked outward at the stars, the galaxy no longer seemed infinite and indifferent. It seemed full of possibility, challenge, and a future we would shape together. 2 beings, feared and human, bound not by expectation but by choice, trust, and the power of standing side by side. We had conquered enemies, outwitted empires, and faced legends. But the greatest triumph of all was knowing that whatever awaited us in the uncharted reaches of the cosmos, we would face it together. And that, I realized, was far more terrifying and exhilarating than any legend ever told.